Hi everybody, I'm sure by now you know I am Delusion Dispeller, unless you are new to YouTube. Anyways, I am Delusion Dispeller, that is my name on YouTube, also known as Laura Beth Culbert. And I have some things I want to share today. Okay, well I'm naming this or entitling this video, I used to say, just get over it. And there's a reason why you'll understand as I go on. Who I used to be was someone who spent several years in the Word of Faith movement and believed that anyone who was not part of it was less than me and even destined for hellfire. I was not raised in the Word of Faith movement. I was raised Catholic, charismatic Catholic. But when I got married, I met some people that took me under their wing, kind of, and they were a Word of Faith group. And it was kind of a group, kind of off the church, sort of. It was like a fellowship, maybe not really a Bible study, although kind of. But they studied a lot of information by John Bevere, Norval Hayes, Kenneth Hagin, Joyce Meyer, people like that. Word of Faith, that's what that is, in case you didn't know. And it was a very different type of lifestyle, and I'll get into that in a minute. So when I became a life coach at first, after all of this, and I'm going to backtrack from the life coach back to the Word of Faith thing. Sorry, I'm flip-flopping, but sometimes it's hard to get everything in that I want to say, and I just I'm all over the place, and I know that, but I'm okay with it. Hopefully you are. All right, so when I became a life coach at first, I was very intolerant of anybody who would not move forward, apply what I told them, and make the changes needed. It was not uncommon to hear me advise my clients to just get over it, move on, let it go. I don't see why this is such a problem for you. This happened a long time ago. You should be over it by now. This was how I was taught to be, using the Bible to be an overcomer, and that anyone who didn't or couldn't was very lost and pretty much worthless and useless. That was what I was taught. Words such as, you're coming up, or speak only positive, speak the truth, the Bible's the only truth, let's not go there, let's change the subject. That was common in the group that I belonged to. If you were hurting over somebody hurting you, you didn't mention it. If you started mentioning it, they said, let's change the subject. All that's going to do is bring up more hurt. Don't talk about it. Don't think about it. Think positive. What does the word say? That was common in the group I was part of. It was this training that I used to coach people when I first became a life coach. That is how I spoke to people who reached out to me over the phone. As time went on, the church that I had belonged to folded. It fell apart. When we moved from meeting in homes to an actual church building, it just did not feel the same, and people just up and left. Finally, the church was no more. The pastor quit, and people became scattered for several years, going to different churches, different groups, different places, and not staying in touch at all with each other, even though they said they would. My mentors ended up joining churches that weren't even of the same strict Word of Faith beliefs, which they hammered home regularly and said, this is the only truth that you ever need. This is it. You have arrived. Congratulations. This is the truth. Although yet, by telling you you've arrived, you always felt like you hadn't quite reached or attained where they wanted you to get. Because they kept saying, you're coming up, you're coming up, you're learning more, you're becoming illuminated. There was always a sense of becoming, never having become. There was always this elusive thing that you were chasing to get to, and you never could quite get there. So I became very disillusioned because these very people that told me this was the way, the only way, and I needed to believe this way and no other way. I was told I could not read a book that did not have 2 scriptures on every single page, or else it was an ungodly book and I should put it back. This greatly disillusioned me after these people that taught me all this were gone. They were God knows where, in whatever church. And when I did finally catch up with them and sit through the services, they were not Word of Faith services. And these people had totally strayed away from what they told me was the only truth. I had a choice at that point. This is called a crisis of faith. I could question and abandon my own beliefs and rediscover what I truly stood for. Me, I, myself. What did I really believe? I chose the latter and began visiting many different churches with many different beliefs. When I started my current job as a paraeducator, I realized that quoting scriptures would not erase the pain in the lives that were in front of me. Some of them would not even have the same beliefs that I had. And I could still pray silently, but this was not that clan of faithers that I had flourished and struggled in, this little family of Word of Faith people. My own children, too, also lost interest in church when their friends, many of them, went totally the opposite way of the beliefs that I raised them in and the church taught them. As time has gone on, and I've established a very personal, at times private relationship with my Creator, I have been learning how He sees things and people, and I've done my best to follow His lead, even when it isn't popular or comfortable with others. And you can tell from the comments on my pages, it's not. I've learned that sometimes I'm wrong, and I have to pick up the pieces of the results of this. And I'm willing to do that. Currently, I have chosen to take an unpopular stand, believing that people can change and go in new directions, even if it's only been a couple days. I am praying and hoping that this is the case for this person, but if not, it will not directly affect me. It's not going to stop me from going to work. It's not going to stop me from eating my food. It's not going to stop me from believing the best about life, but it will cause sorrow to me on behalf of those that I'm believing better things of. When I see somebody struggle and fall or try to turn over a new leaf and fall, it hurts me in my heart because that's the type of person I am. I am okay with being able to make my own choices, have my own perceptions, and facing my own consequences of those, whether right or wrong, those consequences. This is just who I am. No longer will I tell people to just get over it, but I will tell them the answer is in the Bible and in living it out. Any other answers may or may not work for you. So it's up to you how you want to overcome and move forward, and I will do my best to stand with you while you make those choices. Further, I reserve the right to choose whom I will work with as far as advising and whom I'm friends with as well. I will not work with or be friends with everyone, nor try to help them. The people I will work with, I will get to know them gradually, build a trust between us, and they will be people who believe in change and calculated risk-taking and who are ready and willing to step out of the box and walk toward being the best individual they can be. If I feel someone is violating a boundary of mine, becoming clingy, dependent, or putting me on a pedestal, I will address that person, discuss what I see and feel, and if they are willing and able to respect my boundary, my help and guidance will continue for that person. But if not, I will part ways with them. I also respect the person's right to part from me if they feel I am not a good fit for them or able to direct them toward reaching their goals. You've seen this in my comments when somebody has said, I don't agree with you and blankety blank, blank, blank. So I unsubbed and I've said, all the best to you. That's your choice. That is that playing out right there. If you do not want to be on my channel, if this is not a good fit for you, you don't like the way I believe, the way I talk, anything about me, then you do not belong here. Go to somewhere where you're happy. Why put yourself in a situation where you're miserable? Move on. That's fine. With my blessing and all the best to you. This is the mark of what I believe a true life coach is. I'm concerned only that I am walking this out. If someone else is not walking it out, that's not my business unless there is a moral, legal, or just reason for me to step in and address the issue, and I will decide that. People who claim to be what they're not and who hurt people because of it, those people that are hurt have a responsibility to exit that situation. If they are unable to do so, supervision should be enforced in their choices of relationships. Unfortunately, there are people, online and off, that, and especially online, whom should not be online unsupervised, as they enter into situations they're not able to handle or should just plain not be involved in. There are vicious people in this world, and especially on the internet, and people with disorders such as untreated BPD, paranoia, anxiety, do not belong roaming the internet freely, trying to form tight friendships with people. If they are adults, they have the right to do this, but they also will then have the right or responsibility to reap the consequences of their choices. Personally, I am an adult who is able to choose where to be or not to be, who to talk to, who not to talk to, what to believe, what not to believe, what to join with, what not to join with. I'm not responsible for those who are not capable of this yet and are getting trapped in bad situations. Some people hurt people and don't care nor show remorse. Yes, these are often the narcissists of the world, or often other disordered folk. They exist online and offline and can be dangerous. So when a person is hurt from a connection with them, obviously the person hurting them will not care. And at that point, the person needs to talk to someone who is safe, tell them what happened, and find some help and hope to let go and move on without the toxic situations or people. The person who hurt them is not likely to apologize in these cases, nor to care how the other person is hurting. Looking for the apology or remorse is futile in this case. But again, at that point, since the wounder cannot and will not care, the wounded needs to leave and find a healthier situation. It's as simple as that. These are my feelings and why I have said that I have what I have on the videos recently. It's not any one person's responsibility to prevent people from getting hurt. Yes, they should not hurt people, granted. Yes, they should care, but some people just cannot. They are not wired that way to stop what they're doing, consider the feelings of another person, and stop their actions. So at this point, it's on the victim to stay away from the victimizer. Some people have said that to me. We don't want you to go in such and such a room or to talk to this person. Set yourself away from that. Don't get hurt again. Okay, I know where to go and where not to go. And if I get hurt, that's on me. I've said that many times. Stop trying to be my bodyguard or my protector. I don't need one. I appreciate the concern, I do. But I'm a big girl. I can take care of myself. This internet is not my world. My world is my job, my husband, my family, my home, and the few friends or acquaintances that I choose to have. That's it. I don't constantly put myself in harm's way or get hurt. I'm not sitting here bawling or feeling all icky inside. Thanks to Topamax, I don't have those feelings. I have no ability to feel any of that deep hurt anymore when somebody mistreats me. So you're worrying needlessly about that. That's not me. That's somebody else out there that really feels those deep feelings. I felt that years ago, but I don't feel those anymore. I'm fine. Family members did things in my life that were very, very bad for years. Things that totally went against our beliefs. And many of us were upset with the family members that did this. But when one of those family members came to me one day, told me they were making a change, I believed this person, I supported this person, and I stood by this person and encouraged them to stick with this new, better way. And I believe that is what my job is on this planet, to support those that are trying to make a change. It's not my job to judge whether this change is genuine or whether it's going to stick. Now, I will be watching anybody that comes to me and says, hey, I'm changing, or anybody that puts themselves in a position to say things are going to be different. And if I'm uncomfortable with what I see, I know to back off. I'm definitely well aware of where I need to be and where I don't need to be. So that being said, hopefully that kind of clarifies my position a little bit more. And you may still think I'm nuts. You may still not agree with me. I'm perfectly fine with that. I'm not going to lose sleep over the fact that you disagree, or if you try to, you want to unsub from me, or whatever it is you need to do, do it, because I'm still going to be me. I'm still going to feel the same way unless I decide to change the way I feel, or unless God tells me something otherwise. So I just thought I'd give you a little bit of background to help you understand why I'm very accepting and forgiving, and I don't know, whatever you want to call what I am. I don't know. But this gives you a little bit more understanding, hopefully, of where I'm coming from. So that's all I was trying to do. Have a great day, everybody. I might be going live tonight. If I do, it'll be 6 o'clock on Facebook. Thanks.